Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. But first, I want to say thanks, everybody, for joining me. It's been a hectic week, as we all know, and uh, dealing with some kind of insane stuff happening, not only in our community, which we're going to discuss now, but in the outside world. But before I move on, I just want to let's all just take a little moment here to send our love to all the people at um, Club Q and in Colorado who have been dealing with that insanity. And so that's why I think I wanted to make the topic today about hate. Okay. So first off, yeah, I think it's important that we start off with that. And as you see, I'm a little bit like all over because I feel so confused. And the fact that we are still in a position like this today in our community, and that people are still hating on us, and that we can't even have a space to just hang out and do things. So that being said, please everyone just send out some love, send out some beautiful energy, send out prayers to the families. It's devastating. It's devastating. So that being said, let's move forward now. And thank you all again so much for joining me. Um, I appreciate it a lot. I do. It means a lot to me that you want to have these conversations. They're not easy conversations to have, but I think one of the reasons I've been sort of lucky to be still in this community for so many years is that I see things in a different light than a lot of the younger generation. And I remember when I was a youngster and I was always riled up for everything. And not that it's not bad. It's not bad to be riled up and passionate about what you believe in and all of those things, because I am passionate. But I think with my age comes this desire to be calmer and this desire to stand back a minute and try to look at everything that's happening, as opposed to me just jumping to a conclusion immediately about something that happened. And I do think that that comes from a younger space, because you don't necessarily have the time under your belt to navigate the world in a way that I have had to navigate the world as a 60-year-old transsexual man. I've had to really navigate this world in a way that many of you probably won't never have to navigate it. But that being said, that's why I'm here. I'm here to help the young people navigate the world in a way that you won't have to spend the time to get here and finally realize, wow, I wish I would have done that 10 years ago, but Trampa already did it. So guess what? I don't necessarily have to do that. So really, that's one of the reasons why I really feel connected to many of you young people, because I see you struggling in a community that has become very hateful. And you know it as well as I do. And I'm not using that word hate loosely. There's a lot of it, and there's a lot of divide, and there's a lot of mm, disconnect. Oh, hey, Rachel. So I just want to say something real quick here. My partner Rachel is online here this morning just to come and watch us. And here's Rachel. And guess what? Rachel's birthday is today. So everybody wish Rachel a happy birthday. I'm very blessed to have a partner like Rachel. She really supports my work, and it sees all the insanity that Trampa deals with on a daily basis. And I'm very lucky to have somebody stand by me in the face of hate, and the hate I get, she actually sees. So it's there. It's actually there. And so anyway, thanks everybody for sending her a happy birthday. But it's nice to have a partner who sees it and can help me sort of back up from it sometimes, because I do get a little bit riled up sometimes. So that being said, Rachel tends to be my sort of security blanket at times when I need just a hug and not be so inside of that hate. So moving forward, today we're here to discuss why why do we hate on each other? Because we disagree with a way of being. And that doesn't necessarily mean trans. You know what I mean? That doesn't, it means LGBTQIA plus blah, blah, blah. I think one of the reasons why we tend to not sort of get along with each other, because we've now added so many different beings under our flag, which I actually don't like the flag. I'll be honest with you. I don't. I find the flag to be so insane and so trying to lump so many people under one roof that you're going to cause problems when you do that. So, in my opinion, the fact that hey, Netherlands, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us this morning. My opinion is this: when we start to add so many people under this idea of LGBT, because where I come from, it was LGBT. And we, on some level, got along. We didn't get along. We had different ways of being, but it was okay. We didn't attack each other the way I see today. And it's coming from an elder space. Yes, it is. And it's coming from a space of somebody, which I told you earlier, I stand back. I stand back and I see what is happening, and I watch the groups, right? We have little groups, we have Facebook groups, we have groups on Discord or Twitch or wherever you're going. We have these groups that I really feel on some level perpetuate this hateful rhetoric against each other, right? That this is what I see. And I'm going to open it up for some dialogue here real soon, but I'm sort of getting the conversation going before I start to bring you people on the platform. So for me, it's the fact that we have now made this idea that there are many, many, many people who belong to the LGBTQIA plus community. And when oh, thank you, beautiful friend. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Thanks, Ashley. You're really a great partner in crime. So if you guys don't follow Ashley on IG and all that, please do. She's a great friend and a fellow transsexual. So my belief is that since we're putting all these identity choices, it is now creating a divide, because now we have different ideas of even what it means to be trans, right? Or even what it means to be gay, or even what it means to be a lesbian, or even what it means, you can't even be bisexual, because if you're bisexual, then you are transphobic, which I think is absurd. So here's what I think is happening. I think we have attacks on each other's choice of identity. Yet at the same time, there's this spoken word that says, we are inclusive, we are diverse, we believe in equality, we believe in equity. No, you don't. No, you do not. No, you do not. The LGBTQ plus IA community does not believe in not one of those statements. And that is my belief, because I keep seeing how biphobia, right? Or transphobic word has been thrown around to such a degree that it actually has lost any semblance of meaning. And that's scary to me. And I do see, as an elder, transsexual elder, I see homophobia on the rise, because now all the focus is on transphobia. But when you're only focusing on one thing, guess what happens? Other things slide in, because you're only focusing on this one part of the LGBT community, which is trans. That's what I see in the whole world. I see everything is about trans. Now, that's not bad that we're bringing this awareness of trans to the world. But at the same time, when we're bringing awareness to only one part of the LGBTQ plus I situation, what happens to all the other people under that label? What happened to lesbian rights? What happened to bisexual rights? What happened to gay rights? What happened to even transsexual rights? In my opinion, they're being pushed aside for one specific message of trans rights are human rights. And that's the part that I have an issue with. And that's the part that I believe is causing a huge amount of internalized community hate. We get thrown this stuff that says you have internalized transphobia. What? I don't have internalized transphobia. I have a different way of thinking. and I have a different way of being as a trans person. And if we don't start to understand, we are different people here. We are not the same. You and I are far from the same. We have an ultimate goal because we're in a community. And here's where I have a problem with community, because community is now pushing us down, and we're not allowed to have our own beliefs in a community. We're not allowed to be separate, yet at the same time be. Does that make sense? We're not allowed to be over here and having a beautiful life but at the same time, and that doesn't necessarily resonate for the LGBT community, but at the same time, we are part of the LGBT community. Do you see? I believe these are some of the problems that are arising in our community. So I want to know if anybody here has any questions that you'd like to ask, or just put something up here and then we all can sort of talk about it. So does anybody have something pressing, right? And you don't yell, and you don't yell at me for not knowing. That's right. That's right. You can't yell at people because they don't understand, or you can't say stuff like this. Well, do it yourself, figure it out yourself, educate yourself, cisgender. No, cisgender people don't have to educate themselves if they don't know. That is your space. If you expect somebody to actually respect your identity choice, to respect your choice of living, to respect, you have to educate that person, not me, not that person, but you. You're responsible for educating. So I've also seen this idea that says that it's not my, okay, here, let me go back. Let me go to Al. Someone said, good point, Al. We are really being forced out. But I wish we could have our own for trans, because all the other alphabets are about sexual. Yeah, you're right. Sexually made preferences. And we're about body. I totally agree with you. And Al, I totally agree with you. And it's why, oh, hey, thanks, Seth. I appreciate that. Here, let me do this. So here's what I want to say about that. That's true, right? So I think LGB is a sexually based space, and T and all the others are identity on some level based. And I don't have an issue with LGB Alliance. I don't know if any of you actually do, but I don't have I actually support the LGB Alliance. I believe that they need to have their own space. And I've never understood why a community would get upset that they want to be over here. Trans people are over here. There's a million trans organizations, millions of them, that do not even in any way mention LGBT people. So why is it okay to have a transgender, right? Transgender spaces, many of them, but the minute the LGBT community wants to have its own space, everyone calls it transphobic. You see the hypocrisy beyond. Thanks, Seth. I appreciate that. How do you use bisexual, transgender, and non-binary, and aromantic asexual? I don't even know what that is. The list goes on and on. So many labels for what? There you go. Let me say something to you, Seth. And Seth is my assistant, by the way. He's an amazing, a beautiful trans man, and I'm so excited to have him next to me in this fight. And I just want you all to know that if you're not following Seth on here or on Instagram, please do, because he's a stand-up young person, and it means a lot to me to have the young people attached to me. And so I want you to know that not all young people hate me. They don't. There's a lot of young people out there who actually have some respect for me. So with that being said, right, then they're making up labels. Do you all remember? I don't know. You might not. You might be younger than me. We actually fought to get rid of labels. I don't know if you remember this campaign. It was called Labels Are for Soup Cans. Do you all remember that? It was it's an old school sort of campaign that the LGBT and people were doing back in the day. Labels are for soup cans. And now all of a sudden we have all of these incredible labels. Like, I don't even know how many neo pronouns we have. It's insane. It's totally insane. Let me see here. I like this comment. This is my favorite comment of the day. Joshy G says, he sounds like a chipmunk at 2 times. Well, I am a chipmunk, just so you know. I was born a chipmunk. I mean, I was born female, and then I decided to transition to become a chipmunk. And so I appreciate that you've noticed my identity choice. It means a lot to me. So thank you for acknowledging the fact that I am actually a chipmunk, but actually ×2, which is even more incredible. So thanks, Joshy. I appreciate you being here and making sure that everybody knows that I'm a chipmunk and that I sound like one too. So moving on, because people people, stay on course. Stay on. I mean, really, you come on here to insult me because it's not insulting. It's quite funny. If anybody knows me, they know I always make fun of my voice. My voice is hilarious. It's the tranny voice, hence tranny. So, my friend, not an insult. It's actually a compliment. So there you go. Anyway, that's what I want to teach you all to do here. You know, people are going to say mean things to you. Here you go. Chipmunk lives matter. Yeah. I'm actually going to make a t-shirt. So thanks first off for giving me the idea. And secondly, thanks for laughing along with me because it's just so these are the tools I want to give you young people. You know, I'm not saying I'm perfect and I don't get upset. I do. I get upset when people say shit to me. But that being said, I've learned to sort of gravitate towards humor, right? Gravitate towards towards humor because it actually makes your heart so less hurt when you realize, why are people coming at you? Why are people mean? Why are people saying shitty things to you? It's them. Remember that. This is a huge lesson I want to teach you. People say mean things on the internet because first off, they need attention. So a homeboy over there needs attention. So I gave him a little attention. But secondly, remember this. People are hurt. We have a hugely hurt community for many reasons. I can't obviously tell you why, but there are so many people that are hurt in our community. And because when you're hurt and your heart is hurt and your psyche is hurt and your feelings are hurt on a day, you react. You react and you have to sort of put your hurt on other people. So to create insults or to say things like that, it makes you feel better. The person who's insulting, it makes them feel better, right? So it makes them feel as if they're more powerful than you. So here's the message I'm trying to show you from the person sort of insulting my voice on some level. That person makes themselves feel better. They feel as if they have a power over me on some level. And that's what's happening within our community. Within our community, right? We're using these power trips, these ways to say, I'm more important than you, and my voice counts more than your voice, and your voice is making more problems than my voice is. That's what's happening. That's exactly what's happening. So talking about the hate in this community, I really believe that we need to understand where it's coming from, right? So where is it coming from? Does anybody have any ideas? Right? It's all a game of power for sure. But I would love to know, like, do any of you have any ideas of where this internalized desire, because this is desire, I believe it's desire to hurt each other, or this desire to be more important than each other, or this desire to say my voice counts more than your voice. So here's what I'm going to say. As you all know, I speak my mind. I have no issues speaking my mind. I don't care if you like what I say or I don't like what you say. And that's the important part of my message. It's more about me being here saying things that many people want to say, but are too scared to for many reasons. But the power of walking through the hate. Do you know how powerful that is? To walk through the hate is one of the most powerful things you can do as a person, as an individual, but also as a person who is part of a community. In order for us to get rid of the hate, we have to sort of push back on the push back on the hate within our own community. Here, let me give up Solar. How you doing, my friend? Nice to see you. So Solar says, honestly, I feel like this is an issue that got taken advantage of by people that have too much time on their hands. Well, yeah, I will on some level agree with you with that. I believe that there is a younger generation, and you're right, people who would just have way too much time to be trolling on the internet. Like I can't even keep up with you kids. It's like every platform, everything. Like, do you guys like do something else besides play on the internet? So I 100%. Oh, hey friend, nice to see you. Thanks so much. I 100% agree that I think people have too much time and they're not utilizing that time in a way that could be much more constructive. They're utilizing that time in a way that is pushing you. Hey, thanks, friend. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Josh, yeah. I love you too. I'm playing back with you, friend, but I appreciate you doing that. That's stand up. You see that? That's called stand up. That's a stand up person who is willing to sort of have that conversation. It's kind of cool that you think I would, but let me say something here, Joshy. People do think I have a crazy voice because I do. I actually have a crazy voice. There's no doubt about it. And it's something that has always been this sort of pinnacle of hate towards me. I mean, since I've been doing this forever, it's just been this sort of thing that people have always attacked my voice when I go on all these, different sort of platforms or go into conservative media, even liberal media, which doesn't necessarily have me on. They always say your voice. And it's the only thing. I believe this is the reason why people pick on my voice, because it's the only thing that on some level gives me away. Does that make sense? On some level, it's not hyper masculine. I think people think I should be talking like this and I should have a super deep voice. Hey, because I look so masculine. But instead, I have a crazy Mickey Mouse voice or a chipmunk voice. So I think it throws people off because they're thinking I'm going to show up with like the deepest, most insane voice in the world, and I don't. And I never cared about it. So it's just that. So let me see. Cecilia says this: we have people making money being internet personalities. Internet personalities. I always talk about that. We have some trans influencers that just those names together are scary. Trans influencer, somebody who's an influencer. That is a scary term, influencer. That means they influence. That is powerful to have that kind of power to influence people's thoughts. So I'm going to be on board with you, my friend Cecilia, and I'm going to say you're right. I do believe that it has a lot to do with the influencers in our community. And let me see what this Joy Black says. The younger generation never had to put aside differences. Now, I agree. That also, and that is also something I talk about. I come from a whole different generation. I'm not saying their fight isn't a fight. It is. If they think they have a fight in their mind, then they do. But we had a different fight back in the day. We had to fight seriously, like literally, like physically fight people off. When you're ready for a Trampa story time, I can tell you how I had to fight people off physically. I've had some of the most insane attacks. Oh, thanks, Cecilia. You're awesome. Thank you, my friend. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Yes, yes. Here, look at this. Look at this. Look at this over here. Look at this. Trans influencer is scary. I don't even care. Just take trans out of it. Any space that has XYZ influencer is scary. That means that person has the influence on people for them to make choices, right? And I find that is a very scary space that we are in. And I don't like that we call people influencers, right? I don't like that because it's giving them this sort of power to be. And their voice can be the voice that sort of sucks people in and makes people sort of think they know more than you and I know more. And I think that's one of the major problems here that we have come into. An influencer with 1 million followers is going to have more power than me with 18,000 followers. There's no doubt about that. So let me bring this one up here. It's all emotional manipulation. Very sharp people know how to use your own human nature against us. Yeah, as a whole, just wind us up and watch us go. Marxists, yep, our own intelligent agencies, and 100%, friend, 100%. I mean, it's obvious. You can see it happening right now. You can definitely see it happening right now. So influencing people to take, yes, okay, this lady Hawk, thank you. Yeah, influencing people to take hormones or surgery when they don't have dysphoria. I mean, do you see? Why would we do that? Why would we influence any person to take medication that is so insanely, I mean, side effects, we don't know all the side effects. There are long-term damages from these. It's not candy. I feel like we're acting like hormones are candy. Do you know when your hormones are off, it's so dangerous? There are so many other things that can come from off hormones: depression, suicidal thoughts, internalized physical problems, all of that. And we're not even talking, and you can literally go on Folks Health, do an interview with them. I think it's like Seth, something like Seth, what is it? Something like 20 minutes maybe or something. And then you can literally get your hormones. How is that possible? And why are we doing that? Why are we making that a possibility without having any understanding of the long-term effects of testosterone? I think it's disgusting. And I also think it's very trans hateful to not feel that we need to have a system in place that is much more safe for people to move forward in taking hormones. So that, okay, bye, Solar. I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. So let's get back to the hate. Okay, let's get back to the hate. I want to talk about hate more. And I want to talk about why any of you here believe that we have this sort of these factions. I believe we have factions, right? Here's our trans community. We have all these factions. This one's punching this one, punching this one, punching this one. We're all punching each other and participating. We all participate in the hate. And so I want to know what you, bye, friend. Thanks for coming. I want to know what you all think about how do we, me and you as a community, because me and you are in this community together, even though we don't agree on everything, which we shouldn't. We should never agree on everything, ever. And that being said, now how do we learn how to play nice in the sandbox? Let's pretend the trans community is a sandbox, right? And here we are in the sandbox, and we're all playing with the sand, and you know what happens with kids in the sandbox? They steal each other's toys. They might punch each other out. That was me in the sandbox, taking someone else's toy, bullying each other. How do we teach? Okay. How do we teach each other not to be so hateful in the sandbox? And what is the lesson we need to teach each other that says, wait a minute, dude, I have a different opinion. Stop telling me what I'm saying is transphobic and that I'm killing the community. So I'm going to use that as an example because that's what people in this community say to me. You're killing people, Buck. Your rhetoric is helping the conservative right when I'm a Democrat, liberal, by the way. And that being said, then they're like blaming me for putting. So how do we stop people from pointing fingers at another person in our community and saying they're the problem when we are not the problem? The problem lies out there. The problem lies out there. It does. There's no doubt about it in my mind. But we in our own community are helping those people out there as they stand back and watch us eat each other up. You don't think that they want that? They literally want us to eat each other up. So, yeah. Okay, so here, let me grab a couple of these. Let's see here. So Sharing Santana says, I listened to an interview earlier with a nursing student who said hormone blockers were 100% reversible. And it's no big deal. So much ignorance. What? Off this, can you send me an email? You'll see it. Seth put it here. I want to have a little more conversation with you about that. That being said, this is the insanity of our medical world. You and I both know puberty blockers are not reversible. That is the most insane statement ever. And no big deal. Like as if puberty is no big deal. What are you talking about? Puberty is the actual substance of life of a human being. It's taking a child into an adult. That's what puberty is. It's child to adult. So how the fuck are you people telling me that it's no big deal? When you literally block a child from this particular part of growing into an adult, you're telling me that there's no big deal? Then why haven't we been doing that forever? Why haven't we? Also, do these people even understand the side effects of the actual drug that is the puberty blocker? They don't. They're being fed. This is actually malpractice. This is medical malpractice right here. You see what I'm talking about? How are we letting our medical world literally put lies, right? Put lies out into the world. How are we not holding people like that responsible? We have to start calling these people out, right? We can't just let that happen. So puberty blockers and regret from doing them, it was actually resulting in a lot of Lady Hawk, we know that. That's why there's huge amounts of detransitioners. And if anyone would start to listen to these poor people, these young people, and listen to them and understand they're going through trauma. They should have never transitioned. Yet there they are giving them puberty blockers, giving them cross-sex hormones, telling them, oh, everything is reversible. No, it is not. And I just feel like I'm talking to a wall. You know, I feel like I'm talking to a wall. I don't understand. I need to drink my coffee. You know, I feel like we are headed down such a dangerous path. And I can't believe our community is so complicit in this. I'm shocked. Why are the doctors? Yeah, Kelly, why are the doctors saying that it is irreversible? Kelly, the only thing I can think of, because I've done my research, I've done my due diligence, I've really made an effort to understand what it all means. And my conclusion is puberty blockers are not reversible. Puberty blockers are damaging. We don't even understand the long-term effects that these young people will have. One thing I do know is it actually sterilizes them. So you're going to sterilize a kid in order for you to think that they're going to grow up happy. They're not going to grow up happy. Sex is part of humanity. Sex is part of procreation. Sex is part of love. Sex is part of emotional necessity. Sex is so much of the human experience. So when you're giving a child puberty blockers and you're saying it's reversible, so why are the doctors saying that it's irreversible? Because it is. It's not reversible. You can't give a child a puberty blocker and say that it's reversible. They're saying it's reversible. They're not saying it's irreversible. And I'm telling you that it is irreversible. Let me just give you a real quick biology class here, even though I'm not a biology student, okay? So here's what this comes down to. You're a child, let's say you're 8 years old, and let's say you go to your mommy and your daddy and you say, I want to be a boy because Tommy has more fun than me. And I don't want to be a girl anymore. I want to be a boy. And you're telling me how many kids fucking say that? Come on, they've been saying it since I was a fucking little kid. So now you, who have been brainwashed by some weird fucking space that says, oh, when your kid says they're a boy, they are. And now you're told by a doctor that your 8-year-old is going to start puberty next year. So as soon as they're going to start puberty, we're going to give them this medication that will literally block this natural human space. It's natural. Nobody does the wrong puberty. Nobody. That is completely false. So now you're going to take this young little girl who thinks she's a little boy, and you're going to give her some medicine that takes this particular part of their own growth. This is actual physical and mental growth. And you are going to tell me a drug is going to stop that growth for 1 year, let's say from the age of 10 to 11. And do you know how much growth happens from the ages of 10 to 11? I do. He's over here in the other room, right over here in the other room. And I've seen this kid grow so much in the last year. It's insane. So now you want to block this area of growth, and which is normal, natural puberty. It's not precocious puberty. It's not puberty that's off. It's natural, healthy puberty. And you're going to tell me that this 1 year that you give a drug that literally stops this child from growing with the rest of this child's age group, and then the child says at the age of 11, oh, never mind, mommy, I actually am a girl and I don't want to. And you're telling me that 1 year that you put that child on blockers is going to magically just pop right back up again. Can't you see the fucking lies in that? Can't you all see the lies in that? There's no way you can bring back that year of puberty. No fucking way. Prove it to me. They can't prove it. because it's not fucking physically possible. Now you've blocked a year of puberty from this child who now changed their mind and said, never fucking mind, I'm not really a boy, I'm really a girl. What do you think that 1 year of growth, which is brain growth, eyeball growth, bone growth, right? Maybe even genital growth, sexuality growth, all of it. How do you get it back? Can someone answer that to me? I would love to know. How do you get it back? Because if anyone in this room is pro puberty blockers, I need to know how you get that year back. No one can seem to answer that. They just keep saying it's reversible. They keep saying it's reversible. Well, prove it. Prove it to all of us out there, and I'll shut up. I will shut up in a heartbeat. I will never mention it again. But you can't, because it's not true. And it's why I keep asking you all who are so pro. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that a lot. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you, friend. You know, I just don't understand how you all keep telling me, not you, but this insanity. Doctors, nurses, all along for the ride. You are doctors and nurses and medical professionals who should know better. You should know exactly what those drugs are doing to a tiny little child of 10 years old. So I want somebody to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, and then I can shut up. But nobody can prove me wrong. Because all you say, and I'm not taking it at face value. No fucking way. I need facts. Does anyone decide they want puberty? Right on. Puberty sucks. It's abusive to tell young teens that an already stressful process in their body is attacking them. Thank you. We're doing a disservice to these children. We are making them feel as if what they're doing is wrong, or that puberty is this horrible space, or that puberty is not for you. We are putting this into children's brains. So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, this is a great site right here, you guys. If you want to know some more information about all the puberty blockers, if you're kind of on that fence about it, if you kind of don't understand what it means, there you go, pubertyblockerssuck.org. It's, part of our organization. And so we're really, I want the information. Don't take my word for it. Never take my word for it. It's just what I'm saying to you. Never take my word for it. Do your research. And I bet you'll come back to me and say, Buck is right. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to do your own research. Okay. I'm asking you to look into these things. I'm not saying I am the end all be all, right? And yeah, here we go. Here we go. That's exactly right. You all don't think this has to do with money? Y'all don't think creating lifelong, sorry, my phone. Y'all don't think creating lifelong medical patients is insane? Because that's what we're doing. So you all see me here today, and you all know I've been asking, show me the facts about puberty blockers. You're not showing me the facts. You're showing me your opinion. You're showing me your feeling. You're showing me what you think is the right thing to do, but you're not showing me data. You're not showing me facts. I can show you a shit ton. Just go to pubertyblockerssuck.org. There's a shit ton of research there. Why do you think other countries have shut it down? Do you know we're like the only country now feeding children puberty blockers? We're the only country doing that now. I don't even think Australia is doing it anymore. I might be wrong, and someone can correct me here. Right? Here we go. Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this. I had the pleasure of being confused as fuck, thinking I'm a freak, until I saw a therapist and did years of research, which, thank you, while I was depressed. Now 4-year-olds know the word trans. How does a 4-year-old know the word trans? How? I didn't know that word. Seth didn't know that word. Did any of you who are in this room right now who have transitioned, did you understand the word trans when you were a child? Did you say, I'm trans? How does an 8-year-old say I'm trans? How? Who's telling them that language? My child has never even said that word before. Doesn't even know about that fucking word, other than when he hears me talk about shit on the fucking internet, screaming in the other room. He's like, what's dad screaming about again? What's this trans thing? He doesn't even know what it is. So what the hell? How does an 8-year-old know I'm trans? How? You don't think the parents are feeding this child this language because little Tommy wanted to wear a dress. Now he's trans. What the hell? It is madness, Jen. It's madness. I don't get it. Why would we want to put a child into a space like that? Why? Why? Why can't kids just be kids? Why can't kids just run around in dresses and pants and play with all kinds of toys and do stupid things like they do and climb trees and fall out of them and hate each other and you know what I mean? Steal each other's crayons and you know what I mean? Learn to play nicely in the sandbox. Why aren't we teaching kids that behavior? I honestly, I'm actually at my wit's end with it. This question right here. Yep, woke teachers. Whew, that's a whole other subject we'll get into in a little while. Okay, so here, there was something I saw that I really wanted to put up here. Where was it? Hold on a second. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Reality check. They're teaching kids that if they aren't a cartoon stereotype of masculinity or femininity, they're gender nonconforming, which means they're trans. I mean, you know, I've got to laugh because why are we teaching that to a child? Why would we ever even do that? Okay, so here we go. This person's talking. Right, puberty blockers are the new opioids. Remember ADHD? I don't know how old many of you are out there, but do you remember ADHD? It's still around, but do you remember, like, I think it was the 80s or maybe the 90s? We had the ADHD came on the scene. Okay, something's always come on the scene, some kind of disorder or some kind of right space. What was it? What was the other one? Dyslexia. Remember, there's always Adderall epidemic. And I think that's what they gave kids with ADHD, right? But every child who couldn't sit still, every child who sort of had like a different way of being was immediately diagnosed with ADHD and immediately given, I think it was Adderall, my friend, or some bullshit like that, right? Right? And then they were just pounding kids with these drugs, like give the kid the drug, he can't sit still. Well, maybe the kid can't sit still. And maybe the kid has a lot of energy, and maybe you should find some things for the kid to do to sort of expend the energy instead of giving them a drug to calm them down, right? I kind of feel it's on the same level of that. Oh, there's all these kids that want to wear opposite gender clothing and want to play, and then let's give them, they must be trans. They must be, that girl must be a boy. What? Where do you think we're headed with all of this? Where do you think? Trauma. There's a lot of trauma, my friends. There's a lot of trauma. I really believe it, right? There's a lot of trauma. Why are we not addressing the trauma? So going back to the hate in this community, I'm going to address trauma because I believe we have a shit ton of trauma, including me, and why I go to therapy and why I work on my trauma. So that being said, why is mental health care not the number one thing we should be pushing? Not drugs, not puberty blockers, not cross-sex hormones, not top surgery, not bottom surgery, none of that. Why are we not pushing therapy? And why are we not pushing real therapy? Why does it feel to me that we are building a system that I call fast tracking? And the system is to fast track anyone who has any inkling of being a different kind of child. I'm not talking about adults. Like I told you, I always tell you this. Adults can do whatever the fuck they want. You make a mistake, you're going to have to figure that out on your own. I don't have time for that. But that being said, I'm here for those kids who are being pushed into that space. And a 16-year-old is a kid to me. I don't care. Even an 18-year-old is a kid to me who's detransitioning because they were pushed into a space they never should have been. Right. So Seth says this. That's right. That's right, buddy. So I explained my experience with it in my interview. Oh, okay. Wait, not that one. You're right. So check that out. But there was another thing you said. Right. No, where was it? Was it this one? Yes. Because the idiot's self-identifying gender therapist. So that being said, let me tell you this. Be careful of those gender therapists. I had an actual LCSW, right? That's a licensed social worker, trans man, therapist, attack me, and call me all kinds of names, call me transphobic, call me a POS, a trans man therapist came after me. That should say everything to you all. How is an actual therapist in our community saying such insane transphobic shit to me, yet he is an actual therapist in the community? That, my friends, is what you need to see. That's the hypocrisy. That's the bullshit. That's the insular space of we're going to transition children whether you like it or not. They are on some level creating this space so that none of us can push back on it. And that's why we're here. And don't see a gender here. That's right. There you go. Right here. Right here. Don't see a gender therapist. I highly recommend you go to an actual therapist. We need to eradicate gender therapists. They're fake. They're full of shit. They have an agenda. They want you to be trans. They actually want you to be trans. I don't want you to be trans. I want you to fix whatever's going on inside of you. I want you to have a healthy, beautiful life. I don't want you to join me in this space unless you really need to be in this space. This is not fun. This is not, I don't understand this idea that being trans is cool. Someone actually said that. And that video went viral. They actually said, I want to be trans. It's cooler than being cis. It's actually on a video. Who says that? I want to be cisgender. I actually want to be a cisgender man. I do not want to be a transsexual man. It's the whole reason I transition, so that I can look cisgender. I can hopefully be cisgender. I want to be that. I had a sex change. This idea that it's cool to be trans is a sick message to put out there. It's wrong. It's not cool. There's nothing cool about being trans. It's a diagnosis. It's a disorder. Why do we want people to have a disorder, right? It doesn't, it's just not. And that's the light we need to bring to the world. We need to bring the world light that says when anyone is seeking a disorder, that's a disorder within itself. Is it not? When somebody is seeking to be sick, are they not on some level having some mental trauma? Because I don't want to be sick. That's why I transitioned, so that I could fix my disorder. And I don't live in my disorder. I've kind of on some level fixed my disorder. And so I can move forward and look like a cisgender man. That's the goal. That is actually the goal. So when you are on some level wanting to be part of a disorder, that's got to be a disorder in itself. I don't even know what it would be called. I don't even know what it would be called. Munchausen. Thank you, friend. You're exactly, it's actually called that. It is. And I think we're creating a huge community of that. And so what happens? What happens when you get pushback and people tell you, oh, you're not really trans. You need to have dysphoria to be trans. And now the new narrative is, you don't need dysphoria to be trans. You can self-ID. What does that say? What does that even say? What does that even mean? That's indoctrination. Oh, thanks, buddy. Thanks so much, James. Buck, you're an amazing person. I have no idea how to stay so positive. I'll tell you in a minute. How did we go from treat people with respect to you have to respect me and I don't have to respect you? Great statement, my friend. And let me tell you how I stay positive. I think I was maybe speaking about it earlier. And what I do is I go to therapy. Number one, I'm a huge, big mental health care activist. Number two, I don't take it on. And I really want to teach you all, don't take people's bullshit on. Remember, when you get attacked by somebody in this community, it's because the person in that community is hurt. They don't feel heard. They're angry because they're not really maybe transitioning for the right reason. They know that they're not doing it, but they want to be a part of it. I really believe that. So there's a lot of anger and disconnect in their heart. So they see people like me and you who are actually living authentic and are actually living in a space of reality. They get pissed at us because on some level it points to them and says, hey, wait a minute. So here's what I've learned. It's hard. This is not an easy task that I will try to help you all with. But the task involves knowing you. So when someone yells at me, you're a piece of shit, Buck, and you're killing everyone in this community, and you're just a stupid asshole, and blah, 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 I have to stop for one moment. And I have to say, oh, everything that's coming out of this person's mouth is what they think about themselves. Seriously, what they think about themselves. They don't actually think that about me. That's their own internalized hate coming out at me. And once I completely plugged those in, I can actually have empathy for that person. And I can actually have some compassion for their hurt because they're hurt. And once it's so hard, oh gosh, every day I have to look up to the universe, give me strength not to react. Because on some level, they want you to react, right? Because when you react, what does that do? It creates that, there we go, now we're off. You're an asshole, you're a dick, you're an asshole, you're a dick. And we're just doing this sort of spin out. But when that comes to me and I push back on them and say, hey, buddy, wait a minute. That's not okay. You can't speak to me that way. I hope you get some serious help because something's going on with you. And I'm going to send you love. Boom, boom. That's it. No more conversation usually when I say, I hope you're okay. And if you really need something, reach out. I'll get you a therapist. Other than that, I'm sending you love. Wow. Literally, it shuts it down. They don't attack me again. They walk away and block me. So I can tell you that in my own space, the hate I get is tremendous from the community, mostly from the community. And I know what's going on here is we're so mixed up. We don't have an actual real path. We're not understanding how to go and which way to go and how to help each other. And we're not even understanding how to hold hands with each other. We've got our fists up, all of us, including me. We've got our fists up towards each other. That's not a community. And you don't think the outside world sees us literally spinning out on each other? You're a transphobic asshole. You're a TERF. You're a, saying that to other trans people. So if there's one thing you can take away from me today here, okay, that's the one thing I in this conversation of internalized community hate, is that I want you to understand it's a very hard space to get into walking away, right? I walk away from fights now. I do. I've learned. I used to be that dude. Really? I will I'm not. I walk away from fights now. It's called taking the higher road. It will actually benefit you more than you will ever even understand until you get to start to do it more regularly. Those haters won't invade your space. Those haters don't get room on you. You shut the conversation down. I do a lot of blocking. I do because they're a waste of my time and energy. I don't need to react to your hate. So we've got to start to teach our community that if we continue to hate on each other, we're not going anywhere. We're only going down. And many of our rights are being taken away because we are causing that. We are. We need to start taking some responsibility for the hate in the world. Because if we're hating on each other, what do you think we're spreading out there? What do you think the world is getting out there? They're getting the message of, wow, that LGBTQ plus I whatever community is so insane. And I see it written all the time. So insane. It needs to come from us, not from them. Stop blaming them. One of the biggest lessons I've learned in my 60 years on this planet is taking responsibility for my actions, not your actions. When I react to you, that's me reacting to you. That's not you, that's me. I have the opportunity to walk away, or I have the opportunity to create a fucking fight with you. And what do you think is the more positive thing to do? We all know, walk away. Because when you start to fight with another person in our community, you are causing more hate, whether you want to or not. It doesn't matter. When you engage in the fight, you create the fight. When you disengage with the fight, you have then immediately stop the fight. This person is still spinning out. They're spinning out. Ah! You're not. You blocked them out of your psyche. You walked away. You did the right thing. The more of us who start to walk away from our hate towards each other, the more our community will start to understand building bridges, building understanding. Stop saying other people aren't la 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 la. I don't give a fuck how any of you identify. It means nothing to me. Nothing. I don't care. I really don't care. If you want to be a frog, you be a frog, my friend. You just go ahead and do that. But that being said, you've got to have respect for other people's choices of identity. And that's the one thing I've seen in this community that really irks the fuck out of me. Nobody is respecting other people's choices. They're not. They're not. As much as you say you do not. When you attack other people for using transsexual, you are not respecting other people's identity choice. Even though you continually say it, you do not. So, yeah, it's an echo chamber. So with that, that's what I want you to take today from this live. I want you to take the fact that we all have to take some responsibility for the hate, including me, including you. We cannot blame it on a part of the community. We have to blame it on all of us. All of us are participating. All of us are really responsible to get this goddamn community back on track. I cannot believe we have shootings. We still have shootings in our community. People hate us. People coming after us. People not understanding us. It upsets me beyond belief when I see shit like that. I'm done with that shit. I thought we were over that shit. I thought we moved forward in our community and we realized that what the world sees from us is what will create the change. But when we are hating, it creates hate. And I don't agree with that. I agree with spreading love and happiness. And the whole reason you transition is to create a loving, beautiful space for yourself, so that you can bring love and happiness to the world. That is the reason we transition. We don't transition to hate. We transition to love ourselves and create love in the world. That is why we're special people. Transsexual people are special. We are a gift. But if we don't start to use our gift in a way that helps the world heal, we are no longer a gift. We are now a burden. And that scares me because I think of myself and my path as a gift. It saved my life on some level. Oh, thank you, friend. I don't even know how to say your name, but that's cool. Thank you. It means a lot to me. It seems premature to diagnose and intervene, and that's right. That's exactly right. Why can't it just be okay to let our kids experiment and grow as kids? Well, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. There's something wrong. And so that's why we sit here and we have these conversations, because the more of us that speak out and the more of the people that see that many of us disagree with this, the more that the medical world is going to get called out. We need to call out the medical world. They are part of this disgusting thing. In no way, shape, or form does it seem like it's coming from love or any of that. No fucking way. We all know the history of the medical world here. We all know it. We know what they've done. We know what they continue to do. We know that they take advantage of people's disorders. We know that their bottom line is to make money. And that's that. If you think there's any other thing going on in the pharmaceutical world, you're kidding yourself. So have a beautiful day, my friends. I so appreciate all of you showing up. It's been a great talk. I hope that you enjoyed it. Oh, here. Let's go here because I want to get this real quick. Isaac Uncooked thinks that you and Marcus are influencing people to transition. Oh, I don't have, again, I actually like Isaac. I think he's a cool and smart person, but I don't know why he's coming after a person like me. I have respect for the guy. I completely understand where he's going and what he's doing, but to attack people like Marcus and I, who are actually diagnosed with gender dysphoria, because I think Isaac doesn't believe that trans really exists. And here's where I'm stuck in the middle, right? It clearly exists. There are clearly people who have gender dysphoria and need to transition and need to move on with their life. So when this person, Isaac, does this rhetoric, because that's just rhetoric, then, what it does is it actually creates more of a really difficult space for people to transition, because people do need to transition. And anyone here who disbelieves that, I'm sorry you disbelieve that, but it's not true. Many of us need to transition, and it really is an important space. So yeah, I'll actually reach out to Isaac and I'll totally see if he wants to do a live with me. I would be totally honored to have that talk. I'm actually pretty bummed that he feels that way. But again, He's totally entitled to his own opinion, and I don't care. He can say whatever he wants to, right? So that's okay. It doesn't matter to me. He's a hurt person. He got hurt. He got hurt in his transition, and now he's acting out from it. So if you know that not all detransitioners are that way, right? Right. So yeah, he was harmed by it. It's very sad. And I do think what I'm talking about earlier, what happens is when people get hurt by this, they react and they push back and they think that nobody should do it. But all the detransitioners that I have spoken to, and a lot of them are my friends, don't feel that way. They only talk about themselves. And so that's the problem I have with Isaac. Isaac now, because it didn't work out for Isaac, Isaac is now going to throw vomit on everybody, which isn't fair. That's not fair of him to do that. And so any of you want to reach out to him and have him say that, I would love to have a conversation with him. And I think it would be very powerful. And who knows, I might be able to change his mind on some things. So it's the reason I put myself out here for you. And I know the reason I put this myself out here is because transsexualism is a real thing. Gender dysphoria is a real thing. And it's not something that is just trendy or cool or awesome. None of that is an actual medical diagnosis. So, oh, hey, Isaac, thanks for showing up. So here's Isaac. That's great. Yeah, you're allowed. Oh, man. Okay. It's cool, though, dude. It's cool. He said, I'm just being honest. You're a woman, and I'm making a video on your past specifically. You're influencing many young people. Right on, my friend. I think I'll make a video about you. And then now we can cause all this drama. In fact, I won't make a video about you because it's not worth my time. But you're more than welcome to make as many videos as you want about me. Make sure you tag me and make sure you spell my name right so that more people can find me, because that's all I really care about, my friend. You're just going to help me raise my channel. So it's cool with me. But that being said, I see what you're doing. You're not even being a respectful person. You're kind of being gross. But I am a biological female. I'm not a woman. I'm an actual biological female who decided to transition. It didn't work out for you, Isaac, and that's a bummer. But I can see the hate. And that's what this whole thing was about. And you just actually 100% proved my point, which is why I think that's so beautiful. But I, myself, will send you a ton of love, my friend. I hope that you get over your hurt one day, and I hope that you see what you're doing can only cause more pain and more hurt for many people. And I wish to God you would listen to what I'm saying, because if you actually listen to me instead of doing that kind of stuff, because that right there, Isaac is playing right into it. Isaac is playing right into the whole rhetoric, because it didn't work out for Isaac. Isaac now has to shit and piss on everybody else. And that's just a bummer. I just really think it's a bummer. But bless you, my friend. I'm going to send you a ton of love. I'm going to send you a ton of love. And if you want to do a live with me, I would be more than happy to have. I'm not even going to say honored, because I can see that you're all about creating division. You're not anywhere about healing. So I wish you would learn to heal, because I actually like a lot of the things that you say, and I actually listen to you and I watch you. And I think some of the things you say are really, really powerful. But that being said, I just think it's really weird that you're willing to go to the hateful space, and you're willing to go to the space that says, if I can't transition, nobody can transition, which is such a end all be all kind of way to be. So bless you all, my friends. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day, and I want you all to have a beautiful Thanksgiving. Okay, have a beautiful Thanksgiving. Give thanks to where it's due, and let's all start to work on all the hate. Okay, sending you all a lot of love.